Hello.
Hello.
Can you present yourself first?
Introduce myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, I live in the UK,
Okay.
in the city of Manchester.
Okay.
56 years old.
Okay.
Not always been chauffeur d'autocar.
Okay.
Not always.
Okay.
Surveyor,
Okay.
but changed industries through other things in society that have made that you have to change.
Okay.
Um, Married,
Okay.
two grown-up children.
Okay.
One 18 years,
Yeah.
one 16 years.
Okay.
Both in the higher education system.
Good. Good.
In studies,
Okay.
and one of them is studying international business management
Very
at
interesting.
Manchester University, and she's hoping to come across to France and have a 1 year
Okay.
in France. But
Okay. That's
so
wonderful.
what goes around comes around.
Okay. You have forgot to tell your name.
Oh, sorry, Stephen Platt.
Okay. Thank you, Steven. So today I'm going to ask you about Brexit, your personal feeling about Brexit, because you are a citizen from UK.
Yeah,
You may have some opinion about how it's going on today, mainly about impact in economic domain, in healthcare domain, and even in social domain.
yeah.
What do you feeling today about it after 2 years of Brexit?
After 2 years, personally, I voted to stay in the European Union
Very interesting.
with all its bad things and good things, depending on how, as an individual, you whatever you believed in.
Yeah.
I felt it is safer to be in a group for
Yeah.
trading
Yeah.
than to be individual on
Right.
your own and struggle to trade.
Yeah.
The reason of that is, of course, in Manchester, initially, that's where free trade began.
Yeah.
In Manchester, to trading without tariffs, without tolls, without duties and taxation.
Yeah.
The free trade hall was in Manchester,
Okay.
which started in the Victorian times. So free trade, yeah, was a good thing.
Yeah.
Of course, with working in an industry where you're coming into Europe all the time,
Mm.
the possibility of problems with border control,
Yeah.
there was that issue as well. The way it was sold by whichever side of the scales of the beliefs, there was going to be a big benefit,
Yeah.
which the nation as a whole would see.
Yeah.
2 years down the line,
Yeah.
we haven't seen that. But I don't think it's just because of Brexit.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's a whole combination of things that have happened.
Yeah.
Inevitably, going not from the start, but going back,
Yeah.
we've had the increase in prices on fuel costs
Yeah.
because of incidents in Ukraine.
Yeah.
We've had the pandemic,
Yeah.
which has caused every economy
Yeah.
to slow down.
Yeah.
We've then had the supply chain issues
Yeah.
from the Far East,
Okay.
which has not been able to get the free market economy flowing again. So
Yeah.
there's still issues with supply chain,
Yeah.
and in a multinational scale.
Okay.
As regards ourselves, the example I could give you is the UK used to, of course, import the majority of its fresh fruit and vegetables from Spain,
Yeah.
more or less immediately,
Yeah.
packaged onto the vehicles across Spain, across France, onto the ferries, into the UK,
Yeah.
into a distribution, a warehouse,
Yeah.
where it is then split and goes to the various markets and then into the shops.
Yeah.
What we're finding now is we are still obtaining the produce, but because of the delays in the supply chain, just the European, shall we say, I would classify Europe as local, really.
Yeah.
The shelf life on the fresh produce is shorter. So subsequently, the retail and the shops,
Okay.
instead of having, shall we say, a pack of 4, because they've got to get rid of them, it's now a pack of 6.
Yeah.
So the price, forget inflation, so the price of that is slightly more expensive because you're buying 6 instead of 4.
Yeah.
You're not going to eat 6. You would eat 4, but you're not going to eat 6
Yeah, it's
because
not-
of the date before the product starts to
Yeah.
perish. So that element is there.
Yeah.
As regards a workforce, inevitably, the poorer nations within the European Union their workforce came as a migrant workforce into the UK, similar to the grape pickers and the harvesters in France,
Yeah.
where they move around to in one week, 1 month they'll be picking grapes, the next they are harvesting vegetables.
Yeah.
It's a mobile workforce.
Yeah.
Similar sort of thing in the UK. That workforce has gone completely
Okay.
because of the elements of the Brexit.
Mm.
So we are struggling ourselves to find workers to carry out that work.
Yeah.
So to encourage people to do the mundane tasks, wages have increased, which is some people have, yes, we'll do that.
Okay.
It's working. We've seen some of the effects that were threatened with Brexit, but not everything has come into place because of the pandemic.
Right.
Supply chain from the Far East. Even if you're doing an internet shop on, shall I say, Amazon or something like that,
Yeah.
by the time the product gets to the UK, we still have the cost of the shipping, but because of the pandemic,
Yeah.
the cost of shipping from the Far East has inflated prices. Not just in the UK.
Yeah.
That's internationally.
Yeah.
So it's not just the UK suffering with inflation. Everybody's suffering with inflation.
Yeah.
So to some extent, I will be honest and say, what was threatened by one side or what was promised by the other hasn't yet happened because of outside influences.
Yeah.
One being the pandemic,
Yeah.
which
Mainly.
closed down the markets.
Yeah.
So I don't think we've yet seen the full effects of the benefits or the drawbacks
Yeah.
of Brexit.
Really. Right.
I don't think we've seen them yet.
Okay. Thank you.
The immigration
It's a very interesting point.
The immigration is still an issue.
Yeah.
Those people that are trying
Yeah.
to set themselves up, whether they are legitimate, shall we say, prisoners of a regime
Yeah.
that they've escaped from,
Yeah.
or whether they have aspirations of just making money and are not legitimate transients,
Okay.
that issue is still there.
Yeah.
We still have that issue. That has not gone away. That was one of the big issues. We will stop illegal immigration. We will stop the immigration. Still happening. That has not gone away.
Really. Okay.
But I think that could be, again, we have the
Maybe.
Syrian
Yeah.
issue, we've got the Ukraine,
Yeah.
we've got inevitably inflation. So some nations in perhaps sub-Saharan Africa
Yeah.
are even poorer
Yeah.
than they were 5 years ago.
Yeah.
In real terms, they're not. But
Yeah.
because of the aspirations of the nations, what we would call, shall we say, on the Western world, yes, they've made losses, they've made money, they've lost money, they
Yeah.
are stable. But unfortunately, these poorer nations throughout the world are less stable.
Okay.
And with the strength of a nation is not the money it has, it's not its wealth,
Yeah.
it's not the industry. The wealth of a nation is on its workforce.
Yeah. Really.
You have a large workforce,
Yeah.
multi-talented, different industries,
Yeah.
fine.
It's gonna work.
You may only just have one or two industries,
Yeah.
but you have a workforce that can work those industries, fine.
Yeah.
Once your workforce has gone,
It's gonna be complicated for the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So these are negative consequences. If you have something to say about which that you can see as positive thing that UK has since Brexit, what it could be.
self-governance again,
Okay.
without, again, it was promised, without interference from Europe.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we are still trying to rectify the issue with the Northern Ireland Protocol,
Yeah.
where we need a border between Northern Ireland
Yeah.
and European Union,
Yeah.
but we don't need a border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland Province because of the history
Yeah.
and the bad blood.
Yeah. And bad blood.
Yeah, it's the area, Southern Ireland, it still belongs to them. That's the thought.
How is it
Even
working?
though it's governed by the UK, it still belongs. It's still Ireland. Even though it's that little bit up there,
Yeah.
it's still Ireland.
Yeah.
And that really is one of the benefits of what was the Good Friday Agreement.
As a driver, do you used to go over there in Northern Ireland?
Yes, yes,
How is it happen when you want to cross the border?
no problem. There's no checks between,
There's no checkpoint.
no checkpoints. Not anymore.
Okay.
Not since the 1990s with Tony Blair and Trimble.
No, I mean nowadays since the Brexit from.
No checkpoint.
Okay, so no. Okay.
No
I
checkpoint.
thought it was.
It's for a visitor, as a tourist. If you're on the coach,
Yeah.
it's in the ports before you leave the UK, whether it be Liverpool, Stranraer, Birkenhead,
Okay.
or Fishguard in South Wales. That's where it's all done. And these, you may have your passport checked when you get into or onto the island,
Okay.
but there's no restrictions.
Okay. I would like to come back on different nations. As you said, you voted to remain in EU, and I think Scotland as well. Many of them voted to remain in EU.
Well,
Now, how do they feel today? How their relationship has changed between the London, between
London and Edinburgh.
And
It's,
yeah.
it's still
really?
it's still like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But in reality, the way that the system that the UK has for voting is different to the French system, because the French system is it's a multi-choice, and it's the number of votes on the first and the second, and in the French and on a lot of the European.
Yeah.
Whereas the UK, it's what is first past the post. So whoever gets the most votes wins. But in reality, the number of people that actually put their X on the ballot paper for the referendum, yes, there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
But those that voted to stay in Europe
Yeah.
and those that didn't vote for the referendum is higher. So if you look at it in that respect, really,
Yeah.
the minority have voted to come out. But it's if those people, if everybody would have voted,
Yeah.
those that didn't, would the result have been the same?
Okay.
We don't know. We'll never know.
Okay. Give me just 1 minute. I'll let you continue. Sorry for this for the
Oh.
interruption.
With regard to Scotland and Edinburgh, and the Scottish nation wanting independence, yes, I think it was 2014 when they had the vote for independence, and it wasn't successful. But what I would have expected is, with it being a union of as it is, it's the three member states, England, Wales and Scotland, yes, and the territory of Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Really, I think that it should have been put to the vote to all the home nations
To be together.
to see whether you want Scotland to disappear from the Union or if you want Scotland to stay.
Yeah.
Even though it may not physically affect me and I'm 120, 130 miles from the Scottish border, would it affect me? I don't know. Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I would have thought that every member within the Union should have had the vote, which I think may have been a more favourable result for the Scottish. May have been a more favourable, because some people just think, oh yes, we don't want to, let them go. We don't want Scotland. Let them go.
What about you? What do you think?
It's history again, and the lineage, isn't it? Inevitably, you've got the French element with the Scottish, the Habsburg Empire with the Scottish,
Yeah.
the Dutch colonialism with the Scottish, and all that. So it's like everything in life. As a society, as an organisation, whether it's a European Union or whether it was the Roman Empire,
Yeah.
you've got to change, you've got to adapt,
Yeah.
you've got to develop
Yeah.
to survive.
Yeah.
It's like a city.
Like,
You could have a medieval city, and for example, the buildings have been there since 1100, 1200, the 10th, 11th centuries. The buildings are still there,
yeah.
but you are trapped by the city walls. So inevitably, perhaps in the 15th century, the city walls were taken down.
Yeah.
You extend and build new city walls to protect your city. But technology is changing, methods of building are changing, and then we have industrial revolution, and then the people come from the surrounding areas and the farmland. to come into the cities to get work.
Yeah.
The accommodation they lived in was terrible. The apartments and the are basically ghettos.
Yeah.
With the way they were living and being paid nothing really for working in factories.
Yeah.
But you've had to develop. You've had to evolve as a city. If you don't, it just collapses. And the Egyptians were fine.
Yeah.
Were fine. Nearly 4,000 years of a civilization.
Yeah.
Once they started getting involved with Rome,
Yeah.
it fell apart at the seams.
Right. Yeah. You're
Yeah?
right.
You've got to evolve. So, if Scotland were to go on its own, it's a new challenge.
Yeah.
It's something new. It's something new to evolve. I do not think that anybody who is perhaps in their 60s and 70s now,
Yeah.
at years of age, would have thought that China would have been a capitalist, communist
Yeah.
nation, completely against the communist regime, completely against it.
Yeah.
There's only one lot of people making the money,
Yeah.
the people at the top of the food chain. Everybody else
Yeah.
is still kept low under a communist system, but not in China. There's some limit of freedom, not a lot, but some limit of freedom, unlike a true communist system. It's changed, it's developed, it's evolved
Yeah.
to survive. Whereas in Europe, the communist system collapsed completely because it wouldn't change.
Yeah.
And that's only from 1914 to 1980. It's been there, but it's not changed and it's collapsed.
Okay.
I'm not saying it didn't work.
Yeah.
If it would have evolved, like the Chinese, it would have. Yeah,
Okay.
possibly survived.
Thank you very much. What about the healthcare system today? Do you think it is impacted really impacted due to Brexit or not?
Again, not really.
Like the NHS,
The regulation for the immigration of workers has changed because of Brexit, which was aimed at the poorer European nations. But the majority of the nursing staff that come into the UK are from perhaps the Middle East, Far East.
Yeah.
But it's also affected those
Okay.
staff. So those staff are no longer in the system, in the National Health Service.
Yeah.
So there's still vacancies, there's still thousands of vacancies in the National Health Service, which it needs to be staffed to work, to provide the care. Originally, the population at the time when the National Health Service came in was a lot less.
Yeah.
The population is now perhaps twice it was when the National Health Service started in the 1940s. Again, technology, developments in that respect.
Yeah.
So a hospital building which was built in 1900 is no longer any use. So the expenditure to demolish, rebuild a brand new hospital, that's happened in certain cities.
Yeah.
The nursing wards, the nursing system has changed. It's no longer an authoritarian system. It's a lot more relaxed now.
Yeah.
But there's more administration involved. So people are being taken away from the frontline nursing to administration roles. But it's both. Having to do both tasks. It's yes, we're short of workers in the National Health Service, definitely.
Okay.
As regards the financing, needs to change.
Okay.
It needs to change.
Okay.
But it's the government, the money that any government has is not bottomless.
Yeah.
It runs out. It will run out
Okay.
sometime. I believe the French system changed to a self-funded, part government-funded regime.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's what we need to do in the UK, really.
Good.
Survive.
I have a last question for
Yeah,
you
yeah.
about politics. As you remarked, since the Brexit, we have many prime minister designed.
But no election.
But no election. Yeah, we have Theresa May she resigned and she resigned. Yeah, and we have Boris Johnson and
and
so
then
on.
Liz Truss.
Yeah.
And now Rishi Sunak.
Do you have comments
But
on
no
it?
election.
Do you have comments on it or not? Do you think this difficult to govern is linked to the Brexit or not?
I would say if it was perhaps Labour in charge,
Yeah.
or if it was the Liberals in charge, I think that you may have had the same issues and the same fallouts within the party and the successive change of leadership. I think it's a complete irrelevance whether it was the Tory party, the Conservatives in power, or Labour in power, or the Liberals in power. I think this, because of all the aggravation with Brexit, with pandemic,
COVID.
with rising fuel, inflation, rising fuel,
Yeah, and the war in
I think
Ukraine.
it would still, I think it would still have happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you, there's no link with
I've
Brexit.
no.
Okay.
It's a combination of everything.
Yeah.
It's all hit at the same time.
Okay.
And the last thing that people are saying, oh, the last thing we need is a war. And what's happened?
Okay.
Yeah, something else to distract
Okay.
people from, and politicians particularly, from the events at home. The Brexit, it's on the shelf in the corner. It's gathering dust.
Okay.
It's still an issue, but it's now gathering dust. It's not the main focus of attention.
Yeah.
It's the rising fuel prices, inflation, and the war in Ukraine. Brexit is there, but it's on the shelf gathering dust.
Okay.
Shouldn't be. Needs sorting.
Great. Thank you very much
That's
for
okay.
all your details, for your comment, and
You're welcome.
okay. Thank you.